And joining us now here on the program, pleased to have with us the president of Certified Angus Beef. John Stika is with us here today. John, good to catch up with you, sir. I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, pleasure's mine. I'm looking forward to the chance to visit.
Thanks for the time, John. And I know we didn't get a chance to catch up during the cattle industry convention, but glad we could do it here today. And love to talk a little bit about just some of your thoughts with this cattle industry here as we head into 2023. Let's start there. What's on your mind with this cattle industry and on the minds of Certified Angus Beef here as we begin the year?
Well, I think as we move into 2023, there's definitely lots to think about. I don't think folks are struggling to find things to give thought to as we move into this next year. I think for us, I always like to look at where did we start. We come off of 2022 as the second best year we've ever had at Certified Angus Beef from a tonnage standpoint. We sold over 1.234 billion pounds of Certified Angus Beef into 54 different countries around the world. And we've been at this branded beef thing now for over 4 decades, almost 45 years almost. And so, as we look at the demand that's been created and the fact that it now takes us about 5.8 million certified carcasses to meet the demand that's out there, I think it's pretty obvious to state that, we're giving a lot of thought to supply, as I think a lot of folks in the industry are. We're in a unique position. Many of us in the industry haven't seen a supply that's going to be this tight in our careers. And so I think that's a big part of what we're giving thought to, primarily because this time around, demand for quality beef is so high. The industry's done such a great job of listening to the consumer. The consumer around the world wants our product. And here we find ourselves in a position due to Mother Nature and other unforeseen circumstances that we're going to be in a tight supply position for a while, which is really good for producers. And so we're giving a lot of thought being owned by producers that raise registered Angus cattle. We're pretty excited about that moving into this next year. But, we're a brand that's focused on creating demand. And once you create that demand, your customer expects you to supply it. And so, we can't go out and create more cattle overall in a short period of time. But what we can do is we can sell more of each carcass that qualifies for the brand as Certified Angus Beef. So we're really drilling down on creating stronger points of communication with our customers around the world to make sure that if there is a box of Certified Angus Beef ribs, it's got a home. But also, if they can't get ribs or strips or another item that they want, what other items are there on that carcass from the chuck or the round or some of the thin meats that honestly might provide them a great option as well to continue to promote the brand and to sell more of that carcass to drive more premiums and value back to producers in cow country.
Well, John, I think about how you guys are working to create that demand, and whether we see it domestically or in the export market. We hear a lot about consumers, they're always wanting to know where their food comes from. What are consumers wanting to hear about when it comes to knowing where their beef comes from and where that Certified Angus Beef comes from, John?
Yeah, consumers have always had a growing interest in what we do in the beef industry. And I honestly think that's a big part of the demand that we've created collectively as an industry overall. Consumers have more interest in what we do today than ever before. They don't necessarily have a stronger understanding of what we do than they have in the past. And I think that creates that opportunity for us to create deeper, richer connections with customers and consumers, to your point about where their beef comes from. And what we find is that when a consumer really starts asking us questions about where the beef comes from or production methods, what they really want to know is they want to know that the cattle are well cared for. They want to know that the cattle are taken care of, that their needs are met. And in all honesty, we find that to be a very easy story to tell, because all you have to do is tell the truth. Just tell the truth about how American cattlemen and women take care of the cattle and make sure that their needs are met. And we do that by exposing them to the people that are involved in raising these cattle. I think what's interesting about that is consumers have more questions about how cattle are cared for. And what's interesting is that producers, we just want the consumer to also know that we're taking good care of the cattle. And so one of the things that we're focused on this year is not something that's necessarily new to the industry, because beef quality assurance has been around a long time. But one of the things that we're focused on as a brand is to really help encourage producers to get certified through beef quality assurance, primarily because it really does help check that box with consumers that indicates that producers care enough about what they do to go ahead and go through the little extra effort to get BQA certified. It seems like something easy to do. And I think as producers, because beef quality assurance training has been around so long, we maybe take it for granted on the value that it really has. One study that was done looked at surveyed consumers and asked them what their tone or attitude was towards beef production. And at the beginning of that survey, only 44% were positive or strongly positive about the way we care for cattle. After they learned more about beef quality assurance, that number went to 70%. And so I think that tells us a lot about how we can take advantage of programs and systems that have been around for a long time to continue to build trust as consumers ask more questions about what we do as cattlemen and cattlewomen.
Well, and to add on to that as well, another thought that I wanted to ask you about, obviously we have a lot of data in agriculture and in the livestock industry, and we continue to get more and more data as we advance and have innovation and technology. How do you see all the data that we have out there impacting marketing and more for certified Angus beef, John?
It seems like sometimes the more data you have, sometimes the less you understand is about the way it feels. But I think the reality is that without data, we're really just shooting in the dark. And so the fact that there is so much data and information, not only about our industry, but also about consumer preferences today, it really helps us zero in on our target customer with the message and information that they seek about our brand, or as a beef industry, what they seek about our industry as a whole. And so as we look today, that data really does two things. I would say first and foremost, the data that's out there today from a beef marketing standpoint is really what gives us a lot of confidence, Jesse, about our ability to continue to serve the needs of consumers, to give them the beef that they desire, and also charge more for it. Obviously, we all know our costs have gone up across the board. The price of beef is as high as it's ever been. And I know I get the question oftentimes that, well, at what point does the consumer push back and stop buying the product? And I think there's no doubt, because the data would say that they do trade around a little bit from one cut to the next when it comes to pricing and inflation and so forth. But I tell you what the data also tells us is they love our product. It tells us they love the taste of our product. It tells us that they do trust our product. They trust us as producers. And that data gives us a lot of confidence that we can continue to grow beef demand as long as we keep the value side of the price value relationship in line. And so we get a lot of confidence from the data that we still haven't met that line where consumers are going to quit buying our product because of price. What the data also tells us, though, is that value side of the equation, while it still is heavily rooted in taste, okay, the product's got to taste great, it's also that value proposition is being shaped by other things. It's being shaped by animal care. It's being shaped by environmental questions. And so, that data helps us as a beef marketer to begin to augment our messaging, to tell a truthful story that really touches all aspects of the value that consumers are looking for when they pay the price for the products that we put out there. They want to know it tastes good. They want to know that it's produced responsibly, and that they can feel good about both the people and the product that they're choosing to buy to feed their families.
Well, John, great stuff, great insight. I'm sure if folks want to learn more about certified Angus beef, cabcattle.com, cabcattle.com, probably a great place to start, isn't it?
Yeah, cabcattle.com is the best place to start. If you want to know how to get involved or participate in our program, we're available to the industry. If you want to know more about our efforts with our Cut the Bull campaign and beef quality assurance training, you can find it there as well. And then, Jesse, anybody on social media, you can reach us at CAB Cattle on both Instagram and Twitter.
Fantastic. With that, the president of Certified Angus Beef, John Stika, thanks for joining us here today. We'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah, pleasure's mine. Talk to you anytime.